Tune in to RadioCare's Weekend Special live or via podcast. RadioCare is hosted by Mike Howard, broadcasting from Coventry to the world.
Hello and welcome to RadioCare. It's another Sunday evening and we've got another special show for you tonight. This one I've decided to call a Sunday evening Sensational 60s special. Try saying that when you've had a few or when your teeth fall out or something like that. So I hope you've had a good weekend, everyone. I've chosen some songs like some of the really popular ones from the 60s, but some that you sort of may have heard of, but not for a very long time. So to get us started and get us in that 60s feel, we've got PJ Proby and Hold Me from 1964.
When you're near me, I feel so romantic. When you're far away, I'm always blue. If you want me to remain romantic, here are all the things you'll have to do. Hold me, honey, won't you hold me, yeah. Hold me, never let me go. Take me, honey, won't you take me, never to forsake me, 'cause I love you so. Whoa, thrill me, let your kisses thrill me, yeah. Oh, just like you alone can do. Oh, hold me, tenderly enfold me, never try to hold me away from you. Thrill me, baby, let your kisses thrill me, yeah. Just like you alone can do. Oh, hold me, tenderly enfold me. Oh yeah, never try to hold me away from you. Oh, never try to hold me away from you. Baby, listen to me, don't you try. Hold me.
And that was PJ Proby and Hold Me from 1964. Now, looking into the information about the song was actually written in 1933. And I looked up a couple of versions of the song. There's one by Eddie Duchin, Greta Keller and Ted Fiorito. Also, Little Jack Little. Listen to them, totally different sort of sounding, that very 1930s sound. But PJ Proby recorded it in 1964, reached number 3 in the UK singles charts. And very famously, Jimmy Page was a rhythm guitarist on that one, and a very famous session guitarist called Big Jim Sullivan, who played with all of the sort of big bands of the sort of 60s and 70s as a very sort of popular session player. That song also got to number 10 in Ireland, but it was his only sort of charting entry in that country. So this one, next one, is one from the Beatles, and I was going to go for one of the sort of really well-known ones, but this one I thought I'd go from the film Help. It's a great song from 1965, and this one is The Night Before.
We said our goodbye the night before. Love I think of things we did, it makes me wanna cry. We said all goodbye the night before. Love was in your eyes the night before. Now today I find you have changed your mind. Treat me like you did the night before. Treat me like you did the night before. Last night is the night I will remember you by. When I think of things we did, it makes me wanna cry. Were you telling lies the night before? Was I so unwise the night before? When I held you near, you were so sincere. Treat me like you did the night before. Like the night before.
RadioCare is hosted by Mike Howard, broadcasting from Coventry in the West Midlands, home to Lady Godiva and the Sky Blues.
Absolutely. Broadcasting from Coventry in the West Midlands, I say it every week. From my spare room that's become my office, that's become my studio, that's become my little lair. This is tonight's show is, I've got to get it right, haven't I? It's the Sunday evening Sensational 60s special. Wow, I've got it right. Dedicated songs to the 1960s. It's an era that most of us sort of can either say that we like because our parents liked it, or we were actually there and enjoyed that sort of music. I was born right at the end of the 60s, so I grew up with my parents sort of playing lots of them songs, and I probably liked a lot of 60s music before I actually sort of discovered my own sort of music that I enjoyed. So that was The Beatles and The Night Before from 1965. It featured in the film Help, written by Paul McCartney but credited as Lennon and McCartney, and the song was performed on the BBC radio sessions. I used to have a CD of that, of different sessions that they'd done at the BBC, and this was their final one that they did there, called The Beatles Invite You to Take a Ticket to Ride, and that was broadcast in the June of 1965 on the BBC Light programmes. Now, Paul McCartney did say about that song that in 2011 he played it at the Yankee Stadium and stated that this was the first time ever he'd actually performed it live on stage. So there you go, I'm full of useless information, but that's what makes this show sort of a little bit quirky and a little bit different. So let's get on with some more 60s tunes. This one is a classic from Dusty Springfield, and it's I Only Want to Be With You.
Doesn't
What a great tune that is. That was Dusty Springfield and I Only Want to Be With You from 1964. Now that was her debut single as Dusty Springfield because she was in the band Springfields for quite a while. The song peaked at number 4 on the UK singles charts in the January of 64. There has been 3 makes of the song. I think I've mentioned this on the show before when I played a different version of the song. But 3 makes of the song in the UK chart hits. The first 2 by the Basic Rollers and the next one was by the Tourists. They also matched the number 4 peak of Dusty Springfield. Brilliant. Sam Fox actually had one as well in 1989 version of it, but only got to number 16. I don't even remember that version. So this one is one from a definite icon from the 1960s and probably from the 1970s and definitely in the 80s if you sort of remember her TV shows. This one is one from Cilla Black and this one is Anyone Who Had a Heart.
Anyone who ever loved could look at me and know that I love you. Anyone who ever dreamed could look at me and know I dream of you. Knowing I love you so. Anyone who had a heart would take me in his arms and love me too. Couldn't be another heart that hurt me like you hurt me and be so untrue. What am I to do? Every time you go away, I always say, this time it's goodbye, dear. Loving you the way I do, I take you back. Without you I'd die, dear. Knowing I love you so. Anyone who had a heart would take me in his arms and love me too. Couldn't be another heart that hurt me like you hurt me and be so untrue. What am I to do? Knowing I love you so. Anyone who had a heart would take me in his arms and love me too. Couldn't be another heart that hurt me like you hurt me and be so untrue. Anyone who had a heart would love me too. Anyone who had a heart would simply take me in his arms and always love me. Why won't you? Yeah. Anyone who had a heart would love me too. Anyone who had a heart would simply take me in his arms.
Absolutely recognisable as Cilla Black. Anyone Who Had a Heart from 1964. If anyone knows sort of like a little bit of a history of sort of Cilla Black, she used to work at the Cavern Club and really got to know the Beatles. They sort of took her under the wing, used to get her up on stage because she was a little bit nervous and got her singing there. And it was them that sort of like really gave her a start with Brian Epstein, and then sort of Burt Bacharach sort of took an interest. Now that particular song, Anyone Who Had a Heart, he actually wrote that for Dionne Warwick in 1963, and in 1964 she brought it out as a single, got into the top 10 in the States, Canada, Spain, Netherlands, South Africa, Belgium and Australia. But at the same time, in the UK, Republic of Ireland, New Zealand, she lost out to the Cilla Black version. which was a number one hit for 3 weeks in February, March 1964, and also the fourth best-selling single of 1964 in the UK. But classic song, that one. Now, this one is one from the Tremolos. I would have said it was Brian Paul and the Tremolos, but it was actually just the Tremolos, I think, on this one. And this one is from 1967. Now, it does remind me a little bit of the Small Faces. With the Tremolos, they were an Essex band. Small Faces were definitely a Cockney band from similar part of London to me. But the Tremolos were from Dagenham. And this one is Even the Bad Times Are Good. And you can hear that sort of Cockney style sort of accent coming through on this one.
Afraid! Do you ever sing? La 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 la. Terrified. La 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 la. There are times in this life of mine I think that the sun will go down and shine, but as long as you're always there, it don't bother me, 'cause why should I care when all I've gotta do is run to you. Even the bad times are good. Soon as I get to you, baby, you just gotta hold me, and even the bad times are good. Even the bad times are good. Soon as I get to you, baby, you just gotta kiss me, and even the bad times are good. La 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 la. La 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 la. When the day seems to drag along, and all that I do is work it out wrong, still I find that I never cry, as long as I know that you're standing by, and all I gotta do is run to you. Even the bad times are good. Soon as I get to you, baby, you just gotta hold me, and even the bad times are good. Even the bad times are good. Soon as I get to you, baby, you just gotta kiss me, and even the bad times are good. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Could you hear that one coming through? That sort of Cockney sort of sound coming through. It did remind me of the Small Faces quite a bit with that one. That one got to number 4 on the UK singles charts, but they're quite famous sort of for sort of various other sort of hit songs they had. They had a hit with Do You Love Me in 1963. Also, Here Comes My Baby, which was, I think, 1967 and 1971. And of course, a real sort of classic one, Silence is Golden, which I was going to put on, but I thought I'd play this one. So this next song I'm going to play is probably one of the shortest songs in the world. This one is the Hippie Hippie Shake from the Swingin' Blue Jeans.
For goodness sake, I got the hippie hippie shake. Well, I got the shake. I got the hippie hippie shake. I can't sit still with the hippie hippie shake. Ooh, get my pills now with the hippie hippie shake. Well, it's in the bag.
Indeed, that is one of the shortest tracks I think I'm sort of be playing tonight. That's just 1 minute 43 seconds, that song. So that was from 1963, and that was by the UK band Swinging Blue Jeans. Now, the song was originally written in 1959 by Chan Romero and recorded by him that same year, reached number 3 in Australia. Romero was a 17-year-old lad when he wrote the song. Now, Hippie Hippie Shake was recorded by the Beatles the same year that Swinging Blue Jeans did it, and it was in the set that the Beatles were doing when they were sort of playing sort of Hamburg before they sort of become famous. So it was one of them songs that was sort of circulating long before the Swinging Blue Jeans sort of got to do it. The UK version of the song reached number 2 on the UK singles charts, number 24 on the US charts in the early months of 1964. The song became the biggest hit in both UK and US. And it was due partly to the British invasion. So that was sort of with the Beatles, Dusty Springfield, Dave Clark 5, and the Searchers all sort of like getting into sort of the US charts and sort of being part of that sort of a touring phenomenon of that 1963-64. So welcome if you just joined us on RadioCare tonight. We're doing a Sunday evening, now let me get it right, Sunday evening Sensational 60s special for anyone that really enjoys the 60s music. And I was brought up listening to that. My mum and dad loved that sort of era of music, and I was sort of brought up listening to it, and particularly sort of in my teenage years when I was sort of like following sort of that mod sort of scene. I was looking back to bands from the 60s, so I was looking back at the Small Faces, the Kinks, the Who, all those types of bands that would have influenced that style of music. And I mentioned on Facebook the other day, I found a picture of Carnaby Street. If anyone doesn't know what Carnaby Street is, because I know there's people that listen sort of all over the world, it's quite a famous street just off Oxford Street in London. And it used to be sort of like these sort of centres for all sort of the different sort of fashions and that. So when I was a teenager, used to go to Carnaby Street, you'd have sort of like the different alleyways and different shops. So you'd have one sort of for the mod fashion, sort of for skinhead fashion, for the sort of punk gothic fashion. There was all sorts down there, but there was never any trouble. People just used to sort of mix, and they just admired sort of each other's sort of fashions and that. There was never any sort of abuse or anything like that. Well, not at the times that I sort of went up there. It's a while since I've been down there, but it is still one of my favourite places to go. So that's another reason why I'd sort of thought about, the 60s, that particular thing, trying to sort of conjure up sort of that sort of Carnaby Street type image in my head. So this next one is one from Leslie Gore. It's from 1963, and this song is You Don't Own Me.
You don't own me. I'm not just one of your many toys. You don't own me. Don't say I can't go with other boys. And don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to say. And please, when I go out with you, don't put me on display. 'Cause you don't own me. Don't try to change me in any way. You don't own me. Don't tie me down, 'cause I'd never stay. I don't tell you what to say. I don't tell you what to do. So just let me be myself. That's all I ask of you. I'm young and I love to be young. I'm free and I love to be free. To live my life the way I want. To say and do
RadioCare wants to thank all carers around the world. You are truly amazing.
Absolutely, and I say this every week. I have to sort of let people know why I set up RadioCare. It's been going for over a year now, a year since February. And initially I sort of set it up because, the pandemic was hard, and where I work at Carers Trust Heart of England, I just felt that I wanted to do something. I enjoy music, and I just wanted to put out some sort of musical podcast, really, just so that people can sort of listen to the shows anytime they like. And some people sort of said to me, well, why do you do that? Because, anyone can sort of listen to the radio or whatever, but this just seems a little bit more sort of personal, I think. And hopefully by the tracks that I'm actually playing and the shows I'm doing and the listeners that I've got sort of from around the world that are enjoying it, hopefully, that there's probably a lot of carers that do actually sort of listen to this and do sort of appreciate, the show, and that they can sort of listen anytime they like. They don't have to sort of, it's a busy time being a carer. So the reason why I actually sort of set up the show was just to say a huge thank you, and that was for all carers. So the family carers, those that are working in residential, those in domiciliary care, those that are sort of working in hospitals, you're all amazing, and I just have to sort of say that every week. So this next one, to sort of go back to the 60s show, this one is one from the Searchers, and it's from 1964, and this one is Needles and Pins. What a great song that is. I never tire of hearing that song. Some songs that you can listen to over and over again, and that reminds me of sort of being in my bedroom at home when I first was learning to play guitar, and I used to sit on sort of a guitar stool in front of my mirror, and I'd be practicing. I'd be absolutely terrible at playing the guitar, but I'd be sort of strumming along to the sort of different sort of records that I'd be playing, or singing into the hairbrush, because that's how I sort of learned to sing, really, I think. Trying to harmonise with some of the artists that I was playing, or the bands that I was playing. Lots of Beatles, and probably lots of things like the Searchers, Everly Brothers and that sort of when I was growing up. Anyway, that particular song was written by, now if I get the name right, that's Jack Nitzsche and Sonny Bono, which is Cher's husband sort of in the 60s, and Jackie DeShannon. It's been recorded by numerous people: Cher, The Searchers, Smokey, Ramones, Del Shannon, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Stevie Nicks, that's just to name a few. But the Searchers heard the British performer Cliff Bennett, which was Cliff Bennett and the Rebel Rousers, perform Needles and Pins at a club in Hamburg in Germany, and instantly wanted to record it as their next single. Which they did in the January of 1964. It was released. It became a number one in the United Kingdom, Ireland, South Africa, and peaked at number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 singles charts in the United States. Just a great song, isn't it, really? So the next one is in a very similar sort of vein, and it's one that I like, an early one sort of by the Hollies, and this one is one from, let's have a look, 1964 again, and this one is Just One Look.
Just one look, that's all it took, yeah. Just one look, that's all it took, yeah. Just one look, and I felt so I'm in love with you. I found out how good it feels to have your love. Say you will, I will be mine forever and always. Just one look, and I knew that you were my only one. I thought I was dreaming, but I was wrong. Yeah. Oh, but I'm gonna keep on scheming till I can make you mine. So you see, I really can't without you. I'm nothing. Just one look, and I know. I'll get you someday. I thought I was dreaming, but I was wrong. Yeah. Oh, but I'm gonna keep on scheming till I can make you mine. Just one look, that's all it took. Yeah, 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 just one look.
That's a really early sound, isn't it, sort of the Hollies, but I do like that one. That was Just One Look from 1964. Now, I have played an original version of the song. The song was written by American R&B singers Doris Troy and Gregory Carroll, and Doris Troy did record it, and it was a hit in 1963. But also, I've just sort of played the Hollies, and Murray and Linda Ronstadt also sort of achieved hits with it themselves. But Just One Look became a hit in the United Kingdom via the Hollies, which reached number 2 on the Record Retailers Chart 1964. 37th biggest hit of the year, although not a major US hit in its original release. The Hollies' Just One Look marked the first appearance of the band on the Billboard Hot 100 at number 98. There was a US reissue in 1967 where it got to number 44 on the Hot 100 charts. Great song, though. So I was looking at some of the other artists from that time, and I was looking at some of the sort of the Mersey beat sounds, because that's sort of ones that we sort of tend to forget from time to time. And there was an artist, Billy J. Kramer, that he did a lot of the Beatles songs. They seem to sort of pass a lot of songs sort of onto him. But this particular song I'm going to play is probably one of my favourites by his, and it was one done by Burt Bacharach in 1965. And Brian Epstein actually suggested that Billy J. Kramer should record it himself. The This song is called Trains and Boats and Planes, and I think it's a lovely song.
Trains and boats and planes we're passing by. They mean a trip to Paris or Rome, to someone else, but not for me. The trains and the boats and planes took you away, away from me. We were so in love and high above, we had a star to wish upon which, when dreams came true, but not for me. The trains and the boats and planes took you away, away from me. Boats and planes took you away, but every time I see them I pray, and if my bird can cross the sea, the trains and the boats and planes will bring you back, back home to me.
You know, it's one of them songs I haven't heard for such a long time, and when I saw it the other day I thought, yeah, got to stick that one on there. I do sort of remember it being on, I think, a compilation album. It must have been sort of one of them, I don't know, Reader's Digest sort of box sets that my mum probably sort of bought years ago. But that was Billy J. Kramer's version of Trains and Boats and Planes from 1965. Now, it was released at the same time as the Burt Bacharach one, and Burt Bacharach's version reached number 4 on the UK singles charts, while Billy J. Kramer's version reached number 12 on the UK singles charts and becoming his final chart hit. When it was released in the US, Kramer's version reached number 47 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 10 on the Billboard Easy Listening charts. Now, if I sort of mention doing the Freddie, you'd have no idea what I was on about. But it turns out that it was a dance fad back in sort of the early 60s, from sort of about 1963 onwards. So that must be a clue to the artist I'm going to play. The song I'm going to play is I'm Telling You Now from Freddie and the Dreamers. And Freddie Garrity, who was the lead singer, and also done some strange sort of dances, and created a bit of a dance sort of craze. I suppose just kicking legs from side to side. So this one is I'm Telling You Now.
I'm telling you now, I'm telling you right away, I'll be staying for many a day, I'm in love with you now. I'm telling you now, I'll say what you wanna hear, I'll be telling you for many a year, I'm in love with you now. Do you think I'm fooling when I say I love you? I love you. Maybe you'll believe me when I'm finally through. I'm telling you now. I know it's been said before. Say you love me and I will be sure I'm in love with you now. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you right away. I'll be saying for many a day I'm in love with you now. Do you think I'm fooling when I say I love you? I love you. Maybe you'll believe me when I'm finally through. I'm telling you now. I know it's been said before. Say you love me and I will be sure I'm in love with you now. I'm in love with you now. I'm telling you now.
Come on, who was doing the Freddie? I definitely weren't. I haven't got the energy to do the Freddie. So that was I'm Telling You Now from 1963 from Freddie and the Dreamers. Reached number 1 on the... did it? Let's have a look. Originally performed by Freddie and the Dreamers, which reached number 1 on the American Billboard Hot 100. Well, there you have it. I'm Telling You Now was a first released as a single in 1963. Where it got to number 2. So it got to number 2 in the UK in 1963. Then 2 years later, it was re-released and then got to number 1 in the States. We finally got there in the end. So this next one is one from Cliff Richard, and I can hear some of you going, oh no, not Cliff Richard. But I actually like Cliff Richard. I've always liked Cliff Richard, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. And this one is one of my favourites, sort of from the 60s. It's a song actually written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, and they did actually do a version of it, but this is the Cliff Richard and the Shadows version from 1966, and it's a song called Blue Turns to Grey.
Well, now that she is gone, you won't feel bad for long. For maybe just an hour or just a moment of the day. Then blue turns to gray, and try as you may, you just don't feel good, and you don't feel alright. And you know that you must find her, find her, find her. You think you'll have a ball, and you won't hurt at all. You'll find another girl, or maybe more, to pass the time away. Then blue turns to gray, and try as you may, you just don't feel good, and you don't feel alright. And you know that you must find her, find her, find her. And you know that you must find her, find her, find her. She's not home when you call, so you then go to all the places where she likes to be. But she has gone away. Then blue turns to gray, and try as you may, you just don't feel good, and you don't feel alright. And you know that you must find her, find her, find her. Blue turns to gray, blue turns to gray, blue turns to
I do like his version of that song. That was Blue Turns to Grey from Cliff Richard and the Shadows from 1966. I'm trying to see where it got to. Released, let's have a look. So released in March of 1966, it became a hit in a number of countries, and in the UK got to number 15. Sure, that should have got higher. It's one that does sort of feature on sort of like his hits albums that he sort of had over the years. But yeah, what a great song and a great artist. So this next one is one from a band called Marmalade, and I do like some of the tracks sort of I've played over the last year sort of from Marmalade, but I don't think I've played this one before. This one is from 1968 and this one is called Loving Things.
Soft and sweet caress, you brought me such tenderness. To think I was once forsaken, with your kiss I did awaken. It's the love and things you do that make me grow so close to you. Gonna want you my whole life through, for the love and things, baby, that we do. Walked into my life, said how you'd soon end all my strife. With a smile from your young face, you gave me back my inspiration. It's the love and things we share that assures me how you care. Our friends call us the perfect pair, for the love and things, baby, that we share.
That's just a great song as well, isn't it? That was Loving Things from the Marmalade from 1968. Now, it says the song was later covered by a band called Grassroots, but the Marmalade version did reach number 6 on the UK singles charts, and but however was never sort of released in North America. But yeah, what a lovely song that is. So this next one is one from the Walker Brothers from 1965, and this one is called My Ship Is Coming In.
Girl, you've been so good to me, staying by my side through the bad times. All my dreams never came true somehow, but things are gonna be different now. tonight, baby. My ship is coming in, baby, baby. My ship is coming in. But won't it be fine, girl? We're gonna make it this time. You can throw away that shabby dress, buy yourself the finest things in town, girl. Dry your eyes, we're celebrating. Oh, there's so many good times away, baby. My ship is coming in, baby, baby. My ship is coming in, and won't it be fine, girl? We're gonna make it this time. I know it's been tough on you, but through it all, you've been so true. Happy to be just loving me, and anything you want, it's yours, 'cause baby, my ship is coming in, baby, baby. My ship is coming in, baby, baby. My old ship, I've been waiting and it's coming. Oh, can't you see it, baby?
And that was one from the Walker Brothers from 1965. Written by Joey Brooks and first recorded by soul singer Jimmy Radcliffe in 1965, then recorded by the Walker Brothers on their fourth single of that same year. My Ship Is Coming In was a major hit in Britain, spending 12 weeks on the UK singles charts and peaking at number 3 in the January of 1963. I'm just trying to sort of see their second of their sort of 3 hits on the US, peaking at number 63 on the Billboard Hot 100. So there we have it. So this next one is one from the McCoys, and this one is Hang On Sloopy.
Hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on. Hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on. Sloopy lives in a very bad part of town, and everybody, yeah, tries to put my Sloopy down. Sloopy, I don't care what your daddy do, 'cause you know, Sloopy girl, I'm in love with you. And so I say now, hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on. Hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on. Sloopy wears a red dress, yeah, as old as the hill. But when Sloopy wears that red dress, yeah, you know it gives me the chills. Oh, oh. Sloopy, when I see you walking down the street, I say, don't worry, Sloopy girl, you belong to me. And so I say now, hey,
Now that one for me has got that sort of Louie Louie feel to it. That's what I was just thinking about as it was sort of going through it. So that was Hang On Sloopy by the McCoys from 1965, but it was originally written in 1964 by a band called The Vibrations, and originally called My Girl Sloopy. They did actually bring it out as a single in the States, which got to number 26 on the Billboard Hot 100. But it was then recorded by the Yardbirds, and then this version by the McCoys, which was the most successful version, reached number 1 on the singles charts, and was recorded by additional artists, also re-recorded different versions in Spanish and Portuguese. So I'm just sort of looking at the sort of set list, and we're sort of really zipping through it tonight, but I think it's because the songs of the 60s, they're really quite short. They're only sort of like, they're less than, some of them are less than 3 minutes, some of them are sort of about sort of 2 minutes long, so we're probably going to finish a bit earlier than sort of normally do, but hopefully sort of you still get sort of about an hour and a half of music tonight. So this next one is one from the Small Faces. It's Sunday evening, so I've put Lazy Sunday on there. Just fits in with that song I played earlier.
Wouldn't it be nice to get on with me neighbours? But they make it very clear they've got no room for ravers. They stop me from grooving, they bang on me wall. They're doing me trusting, it's no good at all. Lazy Sunday afternoon, I've got no mind to worry. I close my eyes and drift away. Here we all are, sitting in a rainbow. Oh, blimey, hello, Mrs. Jones. How's your first lumbago? Yeah, massive grumble. I'll sing you a song with no words and no tune. So sing in your party while you suss out the moon. Oh, yes. Lazy Sunday afternoon, I've got no mind to worry. Close my eyes and drift away. There's no one to hear me, there's nothing to say, and no one can stop me from feeling this way. Yeah. Lazy Sunday afternoon, I've got no mind to worry. Close my eyes and drift away. Lazy Sunday afternoon, I've got no mind to worry. Close my eyes and drift away. Close my eyes and drift away. Close my eyes and drift away.
Now, the Small Faces are very much a Cockney band from the Manor Park area of East London, so not far from West Ham, sort of East Ham area, but they used to hang around the Stepney Poplar area as well. So that was Lazy Sunday from 1968, and trying to see where it got to. Reached number 2 on the UK singles charts, written by Steve Marriott and Ronnie Lane, and it was on their album Ogden's Nut Gone Flake, which I think is one of the sort of great albums that they did. So this next one is one from the Kinks, and we're moving sort of to North London from there. This one is Dedicated Follower of Fashion.
They seek him here, they seek him there. His clothes are loud, but never square. It will make or break him, so he's got to buy the best, 'cause he's a dedicated follower of fashion. And when he does his little rounds round the boutiques of London town, eagerly pursuing all the latest fads and trends, 'cause he's a dedicated follower of fashion. Oh yes he is, oh yes he is, oh yes he is, oh yes he is. Thinks he is a flower to be looked at, and when he pulls his frilly nylon and his raked up tight, he feels a dedicated follower of fashion. Oh yes he is, oh yes he is, oh yes he is, oh yes he is. There's one thing that he loves, and that is flattery. One week he's in polka dots, and next week he's in stripes, 'cause he's a dedicated follower of fashion. They seek him here, they seek him there, in Regent Street and Leicester Square. Everywhere the Carnation army marches on, each one a dedicated follower of fashion. Oh yes he is, oh yes he is, oh yes he is, oh yes he is. His world is built round discotheques and parties. His pleasure-seeking individual always looks his best, 'cause he's a dedicated follower of fashion. Oh yes he is, oh yes he is, oh yes he is, oh yes he is. He flits from shop to shop just like a butterfly. In matters of the cloth he is as fickle as can be, 'cause he's a dedicated follower of fashion. He's a dedicated follower of fashion. He's a dedicated follower of fashion.
Now that was the Kinks and Dedicated Follower of Fashion. I said North London, and yeah, it was from they're from Muswell Hill area of North London. Now it's quite a sort of a weird sort of song in a sense, because they were very much a mod band and used to go to Carnaby Street, but this was actually a dig at the people that sort of go to Carnaby Street and sort of follow the latest fashions and things like that, and as they've called them, the whole Carnabean army of that time. His song got into top 5, reaching number 4 on the UK singles chart, became their first top 5 since Tired of Waiting for You, which reached number 1 in early 65. It topped the charts in the Netherlands and New Zealand and in the US. And that was from 1966. So this next one is one from the High Numbers, and I'll tell you a bit about the High Numbers in a bit. This is from 1964, and this one's called Zoot Suit.
I'm the hippiest number in town, and I tell you why. I'm the snappiest dresser right down to my inch white tie. And to get you wise, I'll explain to you. A few are the things that a face is supposed to do. But the main thing is, unless you're a fool, you know you gotta know, yeah, you know, yeah, you gotta be cool. I just want you to dig me. With my stripes and jacket like the salt can plainly see. So the action lies with all of you guys. It's how you look in the other cat's eyes. What don't you see? What don't you see? What don't you see now? What don't you see now? My baby, don't you see now? Oh, yeah, yeah. What don't you see now? It's all the
If you know music history, you probably worked out who that was. That was the High Numbers and Zoot Suit, I Am the Face, which was The Who. They were actually released it as the High Numbers, which was the name they were sort of going under at the time when they first got signed up to a record label. So they released that single, and then very shortly after that, they changed their name to The Who. I think they brought out I Can't Explain as the High Numbers as well, but again, that was sort of like changed as well. So the song actually embraces the mod culture, Zoot Suit being a fashionable item of clothing for mods, and the face being mod slang for a well-respected member of the mod society, and that was from 1964. So very much sort of a moddy sort of sound with this one as well, again from 1964. This one is Everything's Alright, and it's the Mojos.
RadioCare is hosted by Mike Howard, broadcasting from Coventry in the West Midlands, home to Lady Godiva and the Sky Blues.
And that was the Mojos and Everything's Alright from 1964. The song peaked at number 9 on the UK singles charts. Now, there's a lot of information about this band. So it was one of them bands where everyone was credited as writing the songs on the particular single that actually came out at the time. It was recorded by David Bowie in 1973 for his album Pin-Ups. He did a lot of songs from the 60s. On that particular album. But that was, the Mojos from 1964. So this one is from 1965. It's the Mindbenders, and this one is Groovy Kinda Love.
When I'm feeling blue, all I have to do is take a look at you. Then I'm not so blue. When you're close to me, I can feel your heartbeat. I can hear you breathing in my ear. Wouldn't you agree? Baby, you and me got a groovy kind of love. We got a groovy kind of love. Anytime you want to, you can turn me on to anything you want to, anytime at all. When I taste your lips, oh, I start to shiver. Can't control the quivering inside. Wouldn't you agree? Baby, you and me got a groovy kind of love. We got a groovy kind of love. When I'm in your arms, nothing seems to matter. If the world would shatter, I don't care. Wouldn't you agree? Baby, you and me got a groovy kind of love. We got a groovy kind of love. We got a groovy kind of love.
And that was the Mindbenders version of Groovy Kinda Love from 1965. Now, the Mindbenders would normally sort of be with Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders, but he'd actually left them just before they brought this single out, and this one became a hit for them. Got to number 2 in the UK, number 1 in the Cashbox, US Cashbox charts, and the US Record World charts, and number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Also recorded by Phil Collins for the film Buster. That must have been about 1987, maybe 88 sort of time. So this next one is one from Dave Berry, and it's The Crying Game. Now, I like the version that Boy George did sort of in the 80s. I think he sort of got the voice perfect sort of on that one. And I was listening to this one earlier on, and I don't know if it's just me, but Dave Berry's voice sounds slightly sort of out on it. But the guitarist on this one, again, like I mentioned earlier, big Jim Sullivan, who's very famous sort of session guitarist, but also Jimmy Page. And so this one's A Crying Game.
I know all there is to know about the crying game. I've had my share of the crying game. First there are kisses, then there are sighs, and then before you know where you are, you're saying goodbye. One day soon I'm gonna tell the moon about the crying game. And if he knows, maybe he'll explain why there are heartaches
Actually, that must have been my hearing. I was listening to that one then through better headset than I was wearing earlier, and it actually sounds all right. So that was A Crying Game by Dave Berry from 1964, written by Jeff Stevenson and first released, like I say, by Dave Berry, reaching number 5 on the UK singles charts. Yeah, not a bad version of the song, actually. I was saying that Boy George is better, but yeah, they're equally as good. So this next one is a song I haven't heard for years. This one is one written by Marty Wilde and Ronnie Scott under the pseudonyms that they use of Freya Manston and Jack Geller. And it was recorded and released by originally by a band called the Bystanders, called When Jasmine Goes, but then re-recorded by the Casuals in 1968 as Jasmine.
What am I supposed to do with a girl like Jasmine? Though my eyes are open wide, she's made my life a dream. When Jasmine goes, a part of me knows I'm not really living. A butterfly child, so free and so wild, and so full of living. When Jasmine stays, though time goes fast, this is my world at last. Beautiful days lost in her eyes, but then the whole world dies. When Jasmine goes, a part of me knows I'm not really living. A butterfly child, so free and so wild, and so full of living. What can you say when a girl doesn't want to know? She's too far away, and she makes my life a dream.
What a lovely song that is. That was Jessamine by the Casuals from 1968. That was one of them songs that could probably have fitted into the sort of 1970s as well. It would have sort of fitted well with that time, almost sort of that sort of bread sort of sound to it, or America. Written, like I say, by Marty Wilde and Ronnie Scott under the pseudonyms of Freya Manston and Jack Geller. Let's have a look and see where it got to. So this version was successful in many countries, but in the UK it got to number 2 and was kept off a number 1 spot by Mary Hopkins' Those Were the Days. Did reach number 1 in New Zealand and number 3 in Ireland. We are zipping through the set. I think there's about 4 more songs left to play, and then we're sort of finished. It's just because they're the 60 songs and they're very short. A lot of them are 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes, definitely under 3 minutes. And if you sort of go back to the 80s one that I'd done, that went over for like 2 hours sort of playing, because most of the songs end up sort of being about 4 minutes long. So this next one is one from the Foundations. It's from 1967, and this one is Baby Now That I've Found You.
About my time, spend my lifetime looking for somebody to give me love like you. Now you told me that you wanna leave me, darling, I just can't let you. Baby, now that I found you, I can let you go. Build my world around you, I need you so, baby. Told me that you wanna leave me, darling, I just can't let go. Baby, now that I found you, I can let you go. Build my world around you, I need you so, baby. Even though you don't need me, you don't need me, baby. Now that I found you, I can let you go. Build my world.
I always remember that song being a faster sort of tempo, but that seems to have quite a sort of steady beat to it, didn't it? So that was released in 1967 by the Foundations. It was their debut song. After receiving airplay on the newly launched BBC Radio 1, it met great success, becoming number 11 hit on the Billboard Hot 100, topped the UK single chart for 2 weeks in the November of 67, and the song also reached number 1 on the Canadian RPM magazine charts and in 1968. So this next one is one from a band called the Ivy League. It's from 1965, and this one is called Funny How Love Can Be.
There she goes with her nose in the air. Funny how love can be.
And that was the Ivy League from 1965 and Funny How Love Can Be. The Ivy League were an English vocal trio formed in 64. They had 2 top 10 hits. I was just looking them up. So it was Funny How Love Can Be, which got to number 8 on the UK singles charts. And then they had Tossin' and Turnin', which got to number 3 on the UK singles charts. Also got to number 2 in Ireland, number 9 in New Zealand, 9 in South Africa. They didn't really have any hits in the US. Tossin' and Turnin' got to number 83 on the Billboard Hot 100, and that was in 1965. So this next one ties in quite nicely because we just had the Eurovision Song Contest, and back in 1967 we had a winner for the Eurovision, and I believe it was probably the first of the UK, United Kingdom's 5 Eurovision winners. So this one is from Sandy Shaw, and this one is Puppet on a String.
I wonder if one day that you say that you care, if you say you love me madly, I'd gladly be there like a puppet on a string. Love is just like a merry-go-round with all the fun of the fair. One day I'm feeling down on the ground, then I'm up in the air. Are you leading me on? Tomorrow will you be gone? I wonder if one day that you say that you care, if you say you love me madly, I'd gladly be there like a puppet on a string. Then I'll lose on the swings. In or out, there is never a doubt just who's pulling the strings. I'm all tied up in you, but where's it leading me to? I wonder if one day that you say that you care, if you say you love me madly, I'd gladly be there like a puppet on a string. I wonder if one day that you say that you care, if you say you love me madly, I'd gladly be there like a puppet on a string. Like a puppet on a string.
Wow. Nearly caught me out that one. I shouldn't do. I should know it's going to end any second. That was Sandy Shaw and Puppet on a String from 1967. As I say, that was the Eurovision entry and the Eurovision winner of 1967 of the Eurovision Song Contest that was held in Vienna that year. The song actually went on to become a number 1 hit in the UK in the April of 67, staying at the top of the charts for a total of 3 weeks. United States, a 1967 version by Al Hirt went to number 18 on the adult contemporary charts, and number 129 on the Billboard Hot 100. So sadly we've reached that part of the show that creeps up on us very quickly, and I think, like I said, because they're just shorter songs, and it's quite rightly been pointed out to me that a lot of the songs from the 60s have sort of faster beats, so they go sort of very sort of quickly. So, you know, this is probably one of the shortest shows that I've done in a long, long while. This one's, you know, it's just going to take us just over an hour and 40, maybe 42 minutes, something like that. So to finish the show, we've got one from Mary Hopkins. It's from 1968, and it's Those Were the Days. Now, reading the information, it was actually based on a Russian folk song, and then it was sort of like it's sort of rewritten sort of with that sort of tune into an English song, and it was produced by Paul McCartney. Mary Hopkins was one of the artists that was signed sort of like to the Apple label. Became a #1 hit on the UK singles charts and on the Canadian RPM magazine charts. Also reached #2 on the Billboard Hot 100, just behind Hey Jude by the Beatles. It was one of the first edition of foreign single sales charts launched by the Centre de Information for the documentation de discothèque. The song also featured on Mary Hopkins' debut album, Postcard. I was looking up the information, and it says that the song was #1 in 17 different countries and #2 in 5 different countries around the world. So I'll leave you on that, and hopefully you can join me next week. Keep sort of adding sort of friends to Facebook, to the RadioCare page. It's really nice sort of to see some new names and faces sort of coming up, and hopefully you get to listen to the show and enjoy them. So everyone, just have a safe week. Not sure what the weather's going to be like, but hopefully we're going to get some nice sunshine. So enjoy yourself, and hopefully you can join me again next week. Take care. Bye.
Once upon a time there was a tavern where we used to raise a glass or two. Remember how we laughed away the hours? Think of all the great things we would do. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we'd choose. We'd fight and never lose, for we were young and sure to have our way. Then the busy years went rushing by us. We lost our starry notions on the way. If by chance I'd see you in the tavern, we'd smile at one another and we'd say, those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we choose. We'd fight and never lose. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. La la da 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 Just tonight I stood before the tavern. Nothing seemed the way it used to be. In the glass I saw strange reflections. Was that lonely woman really me? Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we'd choose. We'd fight and never lose. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. La la da same. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we choose, we'd fight and never lose. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. La 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 la
Tune in to RadioCare's Weekend Special live or via podcast. RadioCare is hosted by Mike Howard, broadcasting from Coventry to the world.